Ryan, you used to be the chef at Anki. You're a Southern-born California chef. You've worked in different places, right? You're young. You went to culinary school, and you had some experience at some high-end restaurant in San Francisco. And now you have your own take on cuisine, which is molecular stuff. So when you were at Anki, you were the restaurant is one of Gallo's top 10 US molecular restaurants. So tonight we're at Teatro in Santa Monica, and then you did a pop-up dinner. There's molecular items on every dish. So tell us about little what we had tonight.
Well, we first off started off with champagne caviar, where it's just a little champagne gelée with some caviar over the top of it, just to give you a nice little elegant, feeling as you walk into the dining room.
And I like the way you presented the dish. It's champagne and then
the
on the glass, right? And then next dish.
The next dish we had was the octopus mosaic. So we have compressed octopus carpaccio, tomato dashi, and then a little squiddy noodle that we use by the agar.
And then you have to tell us about the orange jelly sauce that was in the plate, on the bottom of the plate.
The tomato dashi, it's a tomato consomme, and then we add a little bit of dashi to it, and then we do a very, very low dosage of gelatin, and then we set it in plates.
And I was in the kitchen when you were setting all those plates, and a lot of work goes in plating this.
So, yeah, it's definitely a lot of work, but it's a labor of love. So we really love what we do, and to put these dishes out, it takes a lot of work, but I think the guests enjoy it.
Okay, next dish.
The next dish we had was a tuna mini swab. So that's our play on a traditional tuna mini swab, where we took all the traditional ingredients like artichokes, shallots, red peppers, anchovies, those things, and we broke them down.
Don't forget the tomato, because there's something with the tomato. What was the tomato?
Well, we took the tomato and we quickly poached it in olive oil and thyme, and then we smoked it with mesquite. So we call it a smoky tomato.
Okay, and then the Iberico.
The next we have a Iberico ham, which is a very thinly sliced, very, very high-end ham from Spain. And then we have a compressed heirloom melons, a little bit of manchego, frozen manchego, and then an olive oil sour patch kid.
That was great. Then we forgot the olive on the dish.
On the tuna niçoise?
Yeah, on the tuna niçoise. There was a molecular olive.
Yeah, we take a Kalamata olive, make a puree, and then we use two different additives. The synergy between the two creates a little membrane, so you're able to have olive juice encapsulated. We playfully call it a olive glisher.
Then you forgot the egg also.
Oh, sorry. The quail egg we cook at in the immersion circulator at 3 different temperatures for 3 different hours, and it creates a little custard ball.
Then we had this whole show with the dry ice under seaweed.
All things oyster.
With all things oyster. So there's an oyster in there, shell, but inside the oyster shell is not oyster.
Exactly. So our idea was that because there was a couple things that we noticed that had some kind of oyster in it, oyster the name. So there was chicken oyster, there was oyster plant, which is salsa beef, oyster mushroom, and then oyster sauce. So we decided to make some seared chicken oysters, sauteed, roasted oyster mushrooms, and blanched oyster plant sauce.
And then at the table when it was served, they poured some.
Yeah, what we did was we took a dry seaweed you can find at any Japanese market, and then we make like a broth out of it, and then we strain it, and then that creates the smells of like the sea. So we call it sea vapor.
Next dish, that one was wicked.
Oh, the head to tail.
Yeah, the head to tail.
So the head to tail we have we have a crispy pig's tail, which we braise for about 9 hours in the immersion circulator, and then we put it in breadcrumbs and we fry it. Now the head part, my sous chef is a very well seasoned charcuterie chef, so he accompanied the loop. So he came up with this head cheese recipe where he takes the entire pig's head, he brines it, he blanches it, and then he picks it and he puts it back into a mold and uses all the cheeks, all the brain, the head, everything, the snout, everything part of the head.
And then the interesting part, it was seaweed on top of it.
Yeah, it's sea beans. Yeah, sea beans. Yeah, sea beans, and there's a little bit of a sesame oil gummy, and then a brown butter emulsion, and a little bit of crudité of haricot vert and radishes.
And then the last course, unfortunately. No! I'm forgetting the granité.
Yeah, so for the intermezzo we do a little beet sorbet with carbonated grapes, and then a yuzu lemonade foam right over the top of it, so it kind of hides the entire dish. But it's a good, it's a good way to clean the palate between the courses. So they'll kind of get a little salty, a little high in acidity, those kind of things.
That was good. It could almost be a dessert.
Right.
So then after that we had
the filet mignon confit. So we take filet mignon, we cook it in inverted circuit with a little bit of butter and thyme, sear it off, and then we serve it with celery cream spinach, truffle tater tots, which is just gnocchi fried truffle, and then we have a bone marrow custard. So we roast the bone marrow, make a custard, we use a little bit of additives just so it sets up on the plate, and then we made, instead of a demi-glaze, which we normally use with filet, we use black garlic, and we make it into a gel.
So then I came in the kitchen, and you were plating dessert, and then you handed me a spoon and said, "Try my ice cream." And then so it's ice cream, but you give it a special name.
Yeah, it's chewy peanut butter ice cream. So what reminds me of was nostalgic for me was when I was a child, we would be eating peanut butter sitting on the TV. My sister and I watching TV, eating peanut butter out of the jar, out of a spoon. So that initially sparked the idea, and then I learned of a technique that you could add konjac flour or a gluten-free flour to ice cream to stop the crystallization. So it basically makes the ice cream chewy. So
it does make the ice cream chewy. And then it came with chocolate.
Yeah, a little pliable chocolate ganache, some celery, and then we make a banana milkshake and turn that into a gel. So and then a little celery, some pretzel powder. So a little bit different. It's got some savories and sweets together, but it works well with our thought. It works well.
So that was the first of the series of pop-up molecular dinner you're going to do at Chateau, and then you're going to do more this month and then next year in 2012, right?
Absolutely.
So you know what? I want to come back. Great job.
Come back.
Great job. Thank you,
very
chef.
much.
And then I have to say, I was in the kitchen. There's a passion when you're cooking, and not only you, but your whole team. And you're like the chef d'orchestre, the conductor, and then you're giving that energy to your team, and everybody's happy doing this. Even though it's complicated dishes, and they have to manipulate every ingredient with tweezers and tiny spoons, and it's not like you're just putting everything on the plate. So there's a very nice energy in the kitchen when you guys are working. That was great too.
It's a good team. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.